Niccolò Machiavelli, perhaps the greatest political mind in the Renaissance, is typically remembered for his cold-blooded, practical advice for monarchs in his best-known work, The Prince. Even though discourses associated with Machiavelli typically tend to dwell on power politics and statecraft, his treatment of religion is equally profound and shocking. He examined religion not for any moral or spiritual essence, but as a tool for politics, revealing the dark reality behind its role in human society. Much earlier than our own time's secularism, Machiavelli laid bare the manipulation, fraud, and power politics within religious institutions. In this essay, we analyze how Machiavelli exposed the dark side of religion, giving us a criticism still perturbingly applicable centuries later. Religion as a political instrument. Machiavelli's most striking insight into religion was his view of it as a mechanism for social control. In The Prince, he emphasizes the importance of appearing religious, even if one is not genuinely devout. According to Machiavelli, religion helps to maintain order by providing a moral code that justifies obedience to authority. Leaders who harness religion effectively can command loyalty, suppress dissent, and maintain power. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must appear to be all mercy, all faith, all honesty, all humanity, all religion." The Prince, Chapter 18th. This quote reflects a cynical view. Rulers must simulate virtue, especially religious virtue, because people tend to judge based on appearances. For Machiavelli, religion is not a pathway to divine truth, but a facade that enables rulers to manipulate the masses. Exposing religious hypocrisy. Machiavelli's writings suggest a deep awareness of the hypocrisy that often lies beneath religious institutions. In Discourses on Livy, he contrasts the civic virtues of the ancient Romans with the perceived corruption of the Catholic Church. He admired the Roman Republic's use of religion to cultivate patriotism and discipline, but he saw the Church as self-serving and parasitic. He argued that Christianity had made people weak and passive, in contrast to the ancient religions that inspired strength and valor. In his words, "Our religion has glorified humble and contemplative men rather than men of action." Discourses on Livy, Book 2. Machiavelli believed that the Church's emphasis on humility and meekness drained the civic virtue necessary for a strong state. Religion, in his view, had become a tool of inertia rather than empowerment. Clergy and corruption. One of Machiavelli's boldest claims was that the clergy often used religion for personal and institutional gain. He accused religious leaders of hypocrisy, noting that they preached virtue while indulging in vice. This duplicity not only undermined the moral authority of the Church, but also revealed how deeply entwined religion was with politics and power. The Medici-controlled papacy during Machiavelli's time was notorious for corruption. Popes like Alexander VI, Rodrigo Borgia, epitomized the moral decay of the Church, engaging in nepotism, simony, and political assassinations. Machiavelli saw such behavior not as an aberration, but as an inevitable result of the Church's unchecked power. By highlighting this corruption, Machiavelli laid bare the dark truth. Religious institutions often operate less like spiritual guides and more like political machines. The use of fear and divine justification. Another disturbing reality Machiavelli uncovered is how religion can justify violence and control through divine fear. Rulers who claim divine endorsement often wield that authority to suppress opposition and sanctify their actions. In The Prince, he advises leaders to be feared rather than loved, if they cannot be both. Religion, when fused with state power, provides the perfect framework for this. It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one must choose. The Prince, chapter 16. When rulers claim that their authority is sanctioned by God, they place themselves above question. This tactic renders dissent not just treasonous but sacrilegious. Religion thus becomes a double-edged sword, a source of social cohesion and a tool of authoritarianism. Manipulation of religious symbols and rituals. Machiavelli recognized that symbols and rituals have immense psychological power. By aligning themselves with religious imagery, rulers could cement their legitimacy. Public rituals, processions, and religious festivals served both to pacify the populace and to glorify the state. For example, Machiavelli admired how Roman leaders used augury and religious ceremonies to influence public opinion. Similarly, he saw how Christian rulers manipulated religious rites to reinforce their authority. In both cases, the substance of religion mattered less than its political function. He essentially argued that rulers need not believe in religion. They only need to understand its utility. Religion and war, justifying conquest. Machiavelli was keenly aware of how religion was used to justify conquest and imperialism. He observed that wars, when framed as crusades or religious missions, gained moral legitimacy. Leaders could rally their populations and demonize their enemies under the banner of divine will. This was evident in the Crusades, where the Church promised salvation in exchange for bloodshed. Machiavelli's insight was that religion could transform political or economic objectives into sacred duties, absolving leaders of guilt and mobilizing the masses with fervor. In essence, religion became a cloak for realpolitik relevance in the modern world. Machiavelli's analysis of religion remains disturbingly relevant. In modern politics, leaders continue to invoke religious rhetoric to legitimize their actions. Whether it's through Bible-holding photo ops, religious endorsements, or faith-based policy decisions, the manipulation of religion is alive and well. Religious institutions also continue to wield political influence, often lobbying governments, influencing legislation, and engaging in partisan politics. The use of religion to justify war, restrict freedoms, and mask corruption has not faded. It has evolved. Machiavelli's insights help us understand how religion can be both a source of inspiration and a tool of domination. His work urges us to be vigilant and to separate genuine spirituality from political opportunism. The moral dilemma, faith versus power. Machiavelli confronts us with an unpleasant truth. That religion, generally viewed as a wellspring of ethical direction, can be corrupted into a tool for control. His writings challenge belief in the innate goodness either in church leaders or in religious doctrine. This breeds a profound moral crisis. Is there faith without institutionally entrenched corruption? Is spirituality tenable where it meets power? Machiavelli offers no solutions, only unpalatable realities. He does not dismiss religion in total but warns against exploitation. He leaves the reader with a bad aftertaste, that much that is presented as being divine is very much human and flawed. Conclusion. Niccolò Machiavelli revealed a dark reality centuries ago, one that continues to echo in our own time. He stripped religion of its sacred aura and exposed its function as a political tool. From the manipulation of symbols to the corruption of clergy, from the justification of war to the control of the masses, Machiavelli showed how religion can serve ends far removed from its spiritual origins. His critique remains vital. In an era where religion still influences global politics, Machiavelli's work challenges us to look beyond appearances, question authority, and separate the sacred from the strategic. Religion, he reminds us, can uplift, but it can also deceive. In revealing this dual nature, Machiavelli did not destroy faith, he humanized it. And in doing so, he left us with one of the most honest, if uncomfortable, examinations of religion in political history.